Today we'll be reading some miscellaneous seed descriptions from the Truelove Seeds Company.
Seedy Shorts.
Landreth stringless bush bean. A historic variety that stands up to the test of time. Reliable, productive, fast-growing bush bean produces 5-inch green beans without stringy parts. Delicious, meaty flavor in a hearty bean that is great for canning and freezing. This old heirloom variety was first offered by David Landreth and Sons in 1885. David Landreth was an Englishman from near the Scottish border who moved his nascent seed company from Canada to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1784. His first building was on the spot of what is now 1210 Market Street in Center City, and he and David Landreth Jr. were among the founders of the still important Pennsylvania Horticultural Center. Other Landreth varieties that have become important heirlooms include green glaze collards, Jackson Wonder bush limas, and Bloomsdale spinach. This heirloom bean is part of the Roughwood seed collection of William Woys Weaver.
Fish pepper. The fish pepper is an extremely flavorful, productive, and decorative variety that makes an excellent hot sauce. The white, unripe fruit were used to flavor seafood dishes in the black catering community of Baltimore in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The foliage is variegated, white and green, as is much of the unripe fruit, which is 2 to 3 inches long and turns from white with green stripes to orange with brown stripes and then bright red. The heat is a 3 on a scale from 1 to 5. Horace Pippin, the now famed painter, shared this variety and many others with H. Ralph Weaver in the early 1940s in exchange for bee sting therapy. Weaver's grandson, William Woys Weaver, found the seeds in a baby food jar in his grandmother's deep freezer a couple decades later, many years after his grandfather's death, and was able to reintroduce via Seed Savers Exchange. For years, we've been making gallons of delicious fish pepper sauce from the ripe red fruits after de-seeding. Soilful City in Washington, D.C. also makes pippin sauce from fish peppers grown by black farmers and urban gardeners in the D.C. and Maryland areas, and now offers their seeds through Truelove Seeds. The fish pepper has been designated by Slow Food as an outstandingly tasty, culturally important, and endangered heirloom from Philadelphia and Baltimore, and is listed in their Ark of Taste as a way to invite everyone to take action to help to protect it.
Resina calendula. Rich, aromatic, and delightfully sticky. At Soulfire Farm, we use the calendula to make salve, often with young people, as part of learning to care for ourselves outside of the food, medical, industrial complex. Resina is the most potent of calendulas, with the highest concentration of plant resins, and is best for making herbal medicines. All healing, all revolution is based on land.
Skirret. Skirret is a perennial root vegetable that is native to China. Romans brought it to the British Isles in medieval times, where in 1677, English horticulturalist John Whirlidge raved that it was the sweetest, whitest, and most pleasant of roots, in his Systema Horticulturae. Long before the arrival of the Andean potato, Irish Catholic monks cultivated this sweet parsnip and carrot relative. The roots are sweet and lovely. After root harvest in the late winter or early spring, you can divide each plant into 4 to 6 separate clumps and replant for the following year's harvest.
Roy's Calais Abenaki flint corn. A great short-season flint corn. Plants are 6 to 7 feet tall with 8 to 12-inch ears of golden yellow and maroon. Makes a very tasty cornmeal and hominy. Roy's Calais flint corn is an open-pollinated flint corn, originally cultivated by the Western Abenaki people in Vermont, and subsequently grown and maintained by farmers Roy and Ruth Fair of Calais, Vermont. This flint corn, or some closely related variety, was the only type to survive and produce a crop in Vermont during the infamous Year Without a Summer, 1816, when snow fell in June and killing frosts struck in every summer month. The unusually cold weather resulted from the ash cloud that filled the upper atmosphere and blanketed the northern hemisphere following the April 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora, located halfway around the globe, on the island of Sumbawa in the Dutch East Indies. In Vermont, some rural families were said to have subsisted on hedgehogs, boiled nettles, and clover heads. Planting and harvesting notes. Direct seed in spring once soil temps are above 55, or transplant. Sow 3/4 to 1 inch deep, 6 to 7 inches apart, rows 30 to 36 inches apart. Full sun. Must be planted in a block for proper pollination. The red gene is recessive, so plant a higher number of red kernels to maintain the color variation. Allow ears to dry on the plant and harvest when the husks are fully dry. Harvest when ready and pull husks back and move indoors for further drying.
Lunga di Napoli winter squash. Lunga di Napoli winter squash is huge and flavorful. Feed your whole village on one of these fruits, which will store many, many months into the winter. They are delicious in squash fritters, risotto, and stews. Throughout Puglia and Campania, places where my great-grandparents were born, and also Sicily, Lunga di Napoli winter squash is eaten raw in salads, marinated, steamed, baked, and in sweets. It is also featured in a soup called gianfotto or giambotta, which can include chili pepper, eggplant, tomato, pears, and plums. As the same species as butternut squash, these plants have strong stems and are much more resistant than average to squash vine borers. The vines are quite long, and the largest fruit we grew this year was over 50 pounds, though we hear they can get even larger.
Seedy Shorts.